Yeah, so diving headfirst into this one, I wanted to contain my excitement so much when I saw these deck lists. I was like, just get it, go. So, as you can see already, we have Dracotail, K9, but also Monarch Dracotail. That's right.
Yep.
Monarchs.
We're not joking. The overlay is not. This is actually Monarchs, and somehow it is paired up with Dracotail, a small Dracotail package. And Tobias, look at his smile there on his face. I think that's not the first time today that he has to explain this card to his opponent, because he is playing one of those strategies that not many in the tournament are even bringing. I wouldn't be surprised if there's less than like 5 Monarch players in total here in the room. And he's playing such an interesting list as well, because he is respecting the original Monarchs, man. I am seeing Zaborg, the Thunder Monarch, in his list. And that's not the only Monarch even he's playing. So this is going to be a wild ride. And I'm interested to see how he's actually making use of the Dracotail cards in his deck as well.
Yeah, exactly that. Straight away, as you've already mentioned, we've already seen one, but we also get to see a very classical Time Wizard style Monarch in form of Caius, the Shadow Monarch as well.
Leo's favorite card, actually, so shame that he can't see that, but I'm sure we will enjoy it in his plays. And so we see one of the newer cards from Duelist Advance that was the Monarch's master plan that just made sure that one of the older cards, on the other hand, the Pantheism of the Monarchs, was sent to the graveyard. And now that is pretty tricky, because you banish the Pantheism of the Monarchs, revealing 3 Monarch cards from your deck. The thing is, they don't need to be different names, so you can just reveal the same card thrice, as Tobias is doing here, to make sure that the Monarch's Revolt is finding its way into the hand of Tobias.
And you know, seeing Lucas just watching the text of the card every single time shows how important it is for players to just be creative and try to bring something to the table that players don't expect. And indeed, the fact that here, well, the Monarch strategy is basically X1, only 1 defeat, and I think that a lot of players were surprised when you show the Monarch strategy. I mean, you don't expect that, so you're not prepared to that, and you can do some mistakes. You can just misinterrupt, try to put on some interactions on some special cards while it's not the right moment to be honest.
That's a nice card to be discarding there as well. I mean, for the moment it doesn't do much, as there's no monsters on the side of Lucas, but this is Spell Card Soul Exchange, basically a new upgraded version of the original Soul Exchange, but right now just a good discard fodder for the Monarch's Revolt that we are resolving there.
Yeah, exactly right. And as we already mentioned, that this is such an incredibly good hybrid of a deck, because you have the Monarchs. That is the surprise factor. That is the underdog kind of factor that no one is going to be expecting. So straight away, you have that upper hand on your opponent, and they need to kind of understand the cards then and there. And already mentioned, there is a very, very hidden Dracotail element as well that we are yet to see.
And this is now funny, because here, Tobias now leaves his opponent the choice, because this card also works the same way. Monarch's Revolt is now revealing 3 of the Monarch monsters instead from his deck, and it makes Lucas choose. And I mean, how are you choosing which card to give your opponent when you don't know what they're doing? So Lucas kind of in the dark here right now. Look, we're getting him a phone and a tablet to make sure that he can read all of those cards there at the same time, because Tobias brought something that he certainly was not expecting. Speaking a little bit more about Lucas, by the way, absolute front runner of the French community, just fresh off of a top 8 finish also at YCS Lille, so definitely someone that is already making a name for himself, not only in general but also this season, but here confronted with a situation he was not necessarily expecting.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is kind of a tough situation to be in, to be honest, because when you enter the tournament you think that you are prepared, but then you face a strategy that you don't know. Of course, as you just mentioned, the fact that Lucas is very experienced is good for him, because he knows the Monarch cards, he knows how the deck works, but maybe the newest cards, he doesn't really got prepared for it. And a very good thing for him is that he's reading every single card, you know. He tries to make sure that he really knows every single effect to try to avoid getting surprised. And here we can see the Fuvalos, but how really good is the Fuvalos against the Monarch strategy? That is a good question. We've seen some very interesting cards in the extra deck of Tobias, and it's going to be interesting if he relies on those extra deck cards to just bring his strategy to the winning part.
I mean, at the very least, the Fuvalos has been proven to be an upside goblin here, as it was able to be chained to the Tessera, the Primal Squire effect, when it was special summoning the Idea from the deck, and now Idea also brings Eidos, the old Eidos, I have to say, because there's nowadays 2 Eidos, but that also comes straight from the deck. So Lucas now with 2 cards drawn, so that Mushami Fuvalos already proves to be a pot of greed here.
Yeah, exactly that. And there's quite a lot you need to be very, very careful of on the Monarch side, because usually with Monarchs, if you consider the more commonly domain Monarchs, which was to not have an extra deck straight away when you sit down against your opponent and you see they've got an extra deck already, that's something you don't really need to worry about. And then you see them starting to play Monarchs, you're like, this is odd. What is going on here? So Fuvalos is going to get double advantage, but also on top of that, you then need to start to navigate around other hand interactions that your normal domain Monarchs might not need to worry about. Sometimes you might need to be able to play under Nibiru. Sometimes you might be able to navigate around an Ash Blossom or a Droll. But
Lucas, did he draw into something that he feels like is worth activating? No, I think we just gave the signal over to Tobias, but he is free to continue. But I mean, we see it in the deck name from Lucas. We had different variants of Dracotail already throughout the tournament here, and this is the Dracotail K9 variant, so maybe there's an Izuna or something like that waiting in the hand. We shall see, but this is the first Tribute Summon, the original way to play Monarchs, so we are Tribute Summoning out the new Eidos, the Eidos Beyond the World Monarch. I think it would have been more fitting if he would have actually tributed Eidos for Eidos, but alright, I think that will work.
Yeah, that will actually work. And you mentioned the deck of Lucas, Dracotail K9, which is a deck that he is used to play. He's been playing this deck for weeks now, and it worked pretty well for him. There are basically 3 variants of Dracotail, if we just don't talk about the Monarch Dracotail that we have in front of the screen now.
For sure.
And the K9 Dracotail is very good, especially when people don't expect it, when they don't respect it, and you are able after that to just go through a little bit more interruptions and to get a ceiling which is very, very high. So Lucas still playing this this variant, and the fact that he's able to resolve the Fuvalos and draw multiple cards, I mean, he's able to dig into his deck to just get access to the K9 cards, but also maybe this 5 mana.
I mean, I told you about the regular original Zavok of Thunder Monarch, but you just saw that's not the only Zavok in the deck of Tobias, because there is also the Mega Monarch version of Zavok as well, which we have just added there. Also, as the Idea went into the graveyard, we were able to recover the Pantheism from the banishment, but now Lucas wants to have a say here as he's activating the effect of Dracotail 5 mana in his hand. And that's never too fun for the opponent, because we have 2 very good monsters to fuse with there as well, as we are bringing out that Dracotail Aphelion.
Yeah, this is literally the 2 best monsters to use as fusion materials, because you will get rid of the 2 monsters on the field. One will get negated and the other one will just get destroyed. So Dipan and also Mululu being so strong here, and on top of that you've got, of course, the effect of the Arcelion. We'll see if it resolves, and it looks like it's gonna resolve, but huge advantage here for Lucas. The fact that it resolves is very strong for him.
Yeah, and I mean, putting monsters back into the hand, not necessarily always very great, but putting a tribute monster back into the hand when they have already used their normal summon, that can be quite tough here for Tobias, as Lucas continues to resolve his effects. We're setting the first Dracotail spell card.
And yeah, we can see that the deck is obviously very strong, and Lucas here deciding to just start playing during the opponent's turn and getting access to the K2 as well, which is of course very, very good. There are no monsters on the side of Tobias though, so he will have to find access to more monsters on the field, because as it is now, it's not looking great for him.
It's not looking amazing, but there is at least also, of course, the ability to use the on-field effect of Pantheism on the Monarchs, discarding another Monarch card to draw 2 cards. So maybe we're finding the cards that we need to turn this back into our favor here.
Imagine if we saw a Dracotail card off of the back of this, even a Ketu.
Yeah.
Now that Lucas, even though it's Tobias' turn, has a monster on his field, that Ketu increases tenfold to then access Tobias' own Dracotail engine, and straight away unlocking access to his own Urgula, his own Pan, and you're getting rid of these spells and traps that have already been set by Lucas that can't then be used, which is really, really important.
And we see the Gospel here on the side of Lucas.
On the effect of Eidos, the Underworld Squire. We were trying to bring back a monster onto the field, but we are denied that. no way to get our tribute summons back up and running. Tobias, anything we can do here? That
Is that
ghost spell
Aketu?
looks hard.
There's 2 spells in the hand. I'm really trying to see what they are.
And to be honest, yeah, this is the strength of Dracotail, basically. You are able to just interrupt your opponent using Defy Mana, of course, but also the hand interactions, which are very strong. And here the Ghost Bell is coming in clutch, to be honest, for Lucas.
It is, but I want to see the face of Lucas
When he
if
sees-
Tobias possibly activates the Dracotail card here,
Oh, yes.
because I would be
100%.
completely confused, because I'm still here in the casting booth, moderately confused on why those cards are in there, but maybe we're about to find out. Oh, Tobias, he does have spell cards in the hand, but it feels like it's just more Monarch spell cards. We're setting a monster and passing over. That's not the kind of normal summon you want to conduct as a Monarch player.
Oh no, are we counting? Are we counting the summons?
Well, using the beer on a set monster
I
would be...
was so confused.
yeah.
I was like, wait, I saw him counting. I was like, what are we counting?
But no worries, Lucas is very experienced, of course, and he is just going to try to put himself on the path to victory, and it's looking great for him because he has his engine. Of course, we know that one of them is, I guess, the flame or the horn. I don't remember, but one of the trap cards, and the other one is the K2. So he's going to be able to activate the K2 and get the most out of it, which is great. And I don't see a world where Tobias can just get a victory out of this game, to be honest.
It is looking rough. You're sitting across one of the best players of Europe, and your turn was very, very much stopped. I think Tobias got excited already because he was able to go first. He was starting his combo off, but that one Fuva loss in combination with the Fan Mana was just a little too much and really stopped him in his tracks. He was ready to tribute summon out that Zaborg, the Mega Monarch, but got stopped horribly in the process of it. Okay, now we are resolving to fusion summon. The Nibiru was not used. I think it was there in the opening hand, but we never got to use it. But that's the second copy of a Aphelion now.
And it's looking great, yeah, because we are going to use the effect of Arsalion, and I think that the set monster is not going to be a wall big enough to protect Tobias from a loss there. We are going to get back the Ghost Bell in hand for Lucas, and slowly but surely we are going to just put a lot of monsters on the field to try to get the victory there.
This might very well be the last turn of the duel here as Lucas is bringing those big monsters onto the field. He just basically needs one more big monster and a way to deal with that set monster. Whatever it could be, really. Okay, we're setting Sting now as well. Sure, why not?
But I mean, it's very interesting, to be honest, because Lucas, he has not seen the Dracotail cards. So for now, he doesn't know that the opponent is playing some Dracotail strategy. So in his mind, he's probably playing only against Monarch. So it's going to be very interesting if he doesn't see it during this game, how he will react during the next game if he sees those cards.
I want to have that moment still. I want to see him when he sees the Dracotail cards. Because I can tell you, he will not have to read the Dracotail cards, but he will still be so confused about them. So we are searching there with the Lucius. And surely there's a way past 8,000 points of life points here in this turn. Not even committing it to 5 summons, I'm sure. Okay. Rahu Dracotail.
This does it, doesn't it? So if Rahu resolves, we get Gulamel on the field, even without the pan, and then Gulamel can clear off that card. You've got Gulamel going in, you've got 2 Arfulions going in, plus the Lucas. Bit over the top, but that will get everything across the line exactly as you need it.
Absolutely, you are totally right. And Lucas sings the same way as you do, bringing the Gulamel on the field and activating the cards. And there it is, the victory for Lucas, 1-0 with the Dracotail strategy. And one thing which is really interesting is that, of course, we didn't see the Dracotail on the side of the Monarchs, but also we didn't see the Canine cards on the side of Lucas. So it's going to be very interesting. Both duelists will probably be surprised. Lucas a bit more than the opponent, of course.
Possibly.
But yeah, this is something to take into account.
And I mean, the Monarch deck does play into the K9 cards, right?
Yep.
I think because you...
A lot of them activate in the graveyard as well. Yep.
Yeah, very much it does. So you have to really respect the Izuna, and therefore I think the decision to play the Monarch deck is in the first place already an interesting one in this format, because I feel like the amount of K9 cards and the K9 engine in general, it just is picking up in speed.
Yep.
It feels like in Lille, it was really falling off. Nobody was really relying on them anymore. I feel like in top 8, we had 0 decks with K9 cards in them, actually, which was quite surprising.
There were some K9 strategies,
but not in top 8. Like, nobody really made it with them. So, but here,
Exactly.
this weekend, it feels like people are really back on them. Like, it's fine to see, it's fun to see those meta shifts, right?
Yep.
Like, the one moment, it's all in that direction, and then just a couple weeks later, all of a sudden, boom, completely different format, even though barely any new cards released. So, if you want to stay on top of the meta game, you just have to follow so closely, and you have to be in touch with the community and with the current state of the game so much, which is really fun. I like to do that, honestly.
Yeah, 100%. I absolutely love it. I love the creativity on it. Keeping up to date as well allows you to open up access to some more tech cards you might want to consider and everything else in between. And what I really do like about this strategy, and I think this is something that we could possibly see, even though it's risky, like we saw in the previous round.
Okay.
It could be very interesting if Tobias decides to go second. Now, the reason I say that is that his Ketu then increases in power. His spell card Soul Exchange then increases in power.
Right.
It then also means he doesn't need to rely on so many normal summons. And I feel that one very important thing we could see is if he does play Execturion Dragon in his extra deck, that one card, getting access to that will completely smother the access from Lucas, and then the Monarchs themselves can start to run away. I'm not saying that's exactly what's going to happen, but
Possibly,
it is a very
though.
interesting strategy that we have
I like
seen.
where your head is there with that. That's not something I'm completely ruling out, but still, like, me remembering Monarch from back in the day, playing it there, it just very much feels like a go-first strategy, right? You're just like setting up your Monarchs. You have also that super crazy new trap card, which we haven't seen just yet, but we may see here, because there is now Monarchic Perfection as well. So that is basically a combination of all the original Monarchs, because like you can just use the effect of Zarborg in that turn, you can use Grandmark, you can use Mobius, it's like all of them combined into one trap card.
Once per chain, once per chain. Like, this is absolutely amazing for sure. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see if he decides to go first or second. I think he might choose to go first, to be honest, because I think that the strategy is way better going first. And we might see the same game with Lucas trying to just interrupt his opponent. Now he knows a big part of his strategy, but still there is more to see during this second game. And yeah, the two duelists, they are almost ready. They shuffled their decks, and Lucas will try to get the second game, while his opponent, back against the wall, will try to get the victory. We are going to go into the game 2 right now.
Tobias, the biggest Monarch here in the tournament. Let's see whether he can put up a remarkable field with that Monarch deck now as well. Or maybe he's going to mostly rely on the Dracotail part of his deck here. Let's find out.
Absolutely, and looks like he decided to go first indeed.
Yeah,
so,
he's carefully thinking about it. And yes, we are starting off with the Monarch part once again. We did search for this last time. Oh, the trap card is there, but we are discarding it. So I don't know whether we have any way to get it back onto our hand or field. So tough maybe that it's already gone here.
Absolutely, and Lucas reading the trap card, and he might be a bit surprised that you have all those effects on the trap card. You can basically activate all of them during the same turn, but once per chain and once per effect, of course. And they are very powerful as they regroup all the Monarch's effect in one card.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the strategies to possibly aim for if you want to get that trap card back to the hand is going to be the Squire. But we have got more.
Was it a bait of all time there with the Monarch's Revolt? Because now Pantheism of the Monarchs is just going to give us a draw to end. Additionally to that, as we saw in game 1 already, we still have...
Oh, no!
I was about to say we can use the graveyard effect of Pantheism.
But it will not be the case, to be honest. We set 2 cards, and looks like it's going to be the turn of Lucas. Lucas thinking carefully. Maybe he wants to activate something like a 5-mana at the end of the main phase, and it is going to be the case. Actually, yeah, Lucas decided to play. I mean, this is a bit dangerous if your opponent plays something like Call by the Grave or the triple Tactic Talents. We've seen that before, but for now, we are going to resolve the 5-mana using 2 monsters, and now we see the Izuna. We see the K9 card for the first time during this duel. Lucas is going to be able to fuse them into the Arsalan.
But I'm still confused on why we didn't use the graveyard effect of Pantheism of the Monarchs, because we saw him literally do it in the first game, and we also just double-checked with Pantheism. You can use both of the effects in one turn, but maybe there is no Monarch spell card that can bring us out of that situation.
Could it possibly be a bit of a bait, though? Because if you know that Fey Mana is during the main phase only, you can attempt to go to the end phase. It then forces your opponent to then use the Fey Mana if they choose to, and you still have the Pantheon in his graveyard.
Totally.
Not saying that's exactly what it is, but that might explain why it has not been used yet.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of players do that. Actually, you know, there is the fact that you can still have a talent in hand or something else, and you can try to kind of bait your opponent into playing this 5 mana. Will it be the case here? I'm not sure about that, but that might be interesting to
The only other reason I could possibly consider is if it's all spells and traps, he's already opened up as many of the Monarch spells and traps
and
he has.
now,
you
are right.
Exactly, yeah. Banishing the Pantheism, reveal the 3.
Wait, is that... We are in main phase still, huh?
Yeah, because it will bring it back,
yeah.
because you've got the Fey Mana can only be activated in the main phase, so you're getting the main phase. It's quite important, actually, that the
That's crazy.
the K9 Izuna has gone to the graveyard. This could actually be quite a big turning point.
Tobias, that was a huge mind game then. I love it, but we are just searching for free copies of the Monarch's Revolt. Oh no, the Master Plan, yeah.
And the fact that Lucas decided to play actually while I'm pretty sure that he knows that you can activate the effect in the graveyard, I mean, it's pretty interesting as well. Some players, they decide not to play and to let the opponent just go into the end phase so that they don't have a lot. Of course, you don't generate some resources, but the opponent, his turn is now over.
Oh, yeah.
Send in Prime. So this is how we can get the trap card back, because Prime will make you banish another Monarch spell and trap. You can banish that, and as long as you can get the Squire, Adia, to the graveyard, you will add the trap card back.
Oh, you're so right. Does Tobias have enough to make all of that happen here? He still has those 2 set cards, which may as well be extenders, because he was clearly bluffing. Oh no, we're in the end phase though.
But still, we have a little bit more, I guess.
We still have Prime Monarch in the graveyard. That will still be a form of, well, a bit of a blocker, which could ultimately end up stopping a full OTK, but there's still 2 unknown trap cards, which could be, from the looking of the side deck, Solemn Warning and Solemn Judgment, which could be kind of big, but I'd like to think you might hit the Ketu here, but the Ketu is just going to be the add rather than the fusion summon, so I think we're learning from game 1 not to present a monster on field, even in defense position, but this is going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting, because during the first game, I mean, the set monster, it didn't bring a whole lot to the strategy, to be honest, and it brought the other effect of the K2, being able to fuse on the side of Lucas, and this time, I mean, he's going to normal summon the Lucias and try to perform his whole combo, if I can say that, trying to end the game on the spot, and it's going to be very interesting on the side of Tobias what you choose to activate and when you choose to activate, because, I mean, it's going to be hard, you know, to try to resist to Lucas' deck.
We are considering what to even get here, and Tobias, sometimes you just have to look into someone's face, and in that case here into the face cam, Tobias just doesn't look particularly happy with the situation he's in right now. Of course, you kind of worded it positively that he doesn't have any monsters on the field, so that the spell cards of Lucas are a little weaker, but on the other hand, he doesn't have any monsters on the field, so it's both good and bad really at the same time, and Tobias just has to accept whatever is coming his way here from Lucas. Can he find, again, a way to immediately end this game in 1 turn? Then both games pretty much would have gone the same way, with Lucas just going second, immediately making it happen. Okay, 5 mana effect. Seems like Tobias has something to possibly respond.
But that's good, so he's going to be able to fuse once again, like last turn.
Are we using a monster from the field here, or is it going to be all monsters from the hand?
And you can see that Lucas thinks carefully, like we saw at Lille. He was thinking very carefully, trying to do the right move at the right time. And this is something that great players have in common. They try to plan everything in advance and try to just stay 2 steps ahead of their opponent.
Like a machine, really. You just you can see the gears working in his head. He's just like making every decision as careful, as perfect as possible. And I mean, he has not only been successful in this season, like the success from Lucas just really goes back to already several and countless YCS tops almost, really making a name for himself here in the European community.
Yeah, some very ancient gears, to be honest.
I honestly think that the only card that really threatens Tobias as it currently stands is the Rahu leading to the Urgler. because those two trap guards right now, well, assuming they are two trap guards, if they are interactive for Lucas against him at all, you might want to be saving those because Urgla is the only one that really kind of puts any pressure on them. On top of that, to be a little bit more defensive, we're trying to keep the Prime Monarch in the graveyard until there is no way that a Gulamel or even a Pan can destroy it. So we saw there previously with Mululu and Pan going to the graveyard for the Fusion Summon, you're only getting half their effects when you think about it. Like,
that's true.
Pan's not destroying anything, Mululu's not negating anything because there isn't anything there to do. So I would be very interested to see if Rahu resolves, and if it does, I think Lucas can then start to tick the boxes of no interaction. But straight away Tobias' finger, there's a solemn warning.
Solemn warning. Okay, we do stop this, but that brings us down to 6,000 points.
Yep.
And that means the monsters on the field would already be enough technically to end the game here.
Is it gonna be the end of the game though? There is still
have Prime.
one last card, and let's see what Lucas is gonna do. He's entering battle phase, I think. He just announced the battle phase. Do we have something on the side of Tobias?
Prime could
Prime
be
is in the
stopped
grave.
by Ghost Spell again. We saw
could very
Ghost
well.
Spell in
It
the
could.
first game, so
Is there
Lucas
something?
in the battle phase. That's the first damage, and Tobias is grabbing his pen, writing down the damage, so that first attack goes through.
And there are still two Arsalian on the field ready to end the game. Is Tobias gonna activate something? This is now or never if he wants to stay in the game. Let's see what he has in stock.
Okay, third attack. This is the moment where you gotta use the Prime Monarch
Oh.
or Super Polarization! It ain't over just yet, and you see it there. We have discarded our very own Dracotail card now, finally. So we do not only survive this turn, but we also finally reveal to our opponent what this deck is all about.
And that's
we are still
actually
in
huge.
this.
That's actually huge because now you can fuse the Dracotail cards to just bring your own Dracotail cards on the field, and that, I mean, you need to use, you cannot use, by the way, the cards to get the Dracotail, but you can still get something on the field. The question is, you cannot get the two Italians because it needs to be different names for Garura, but you can get
Secturion, Dragon, and Spellcaster. There you go.
the Secretarian is pretty good indeed in this matchup, which is, obviously fine into Dracotail. And now you reveal two things to Lucas.
So much. It's very, very important. So this is massive. The fact that Tobias took the first two hits meant that when he did decide to use Super Polymerization, you get rid of the one Arthulion that has not attacked, so that it is now even at 2,800 2,800 attack points because we've got the one banished Pantheism. The final Arthulion cannot destroy it, so that Secturion Dragon is going to be staying on that field for another turn. Plus, you add Prime into the mix. You add Prime into the mix as well. Tobias now has two monsters on the field that could very easily be used as tribute fodder.
I think Tobias may have found a way for himself to really get relevant again in this match, because he has clearly survived, at the very least, this turn.
But the problem is that the activation was negated of the Rahu, so now you can activate another one and just get another fusion monster on the field. Still, there is this Secretarian there, which is kind of a problem, of course, because we don't have a battle phase anymore. But, I mean... yeah, there is the Rogula in the graveyard. We are going to bring our own monsters, our own fusion monsters, and Tobias, he doesn't have any card in hand anymore, so it's going to be still hard for him. We have the Gulamel on the field, not able to activate the effect, of course.
That is a dragon, so definitely no way to do that, but still, as you said, we are continuing to fusion summon, and there is now the Gulamel on the field. Because he's probably still trying to process the fact that Tobias has discarded a Rahu Dracotail himself there for the Super Polymerization.
3 Rahus in the same turn.
Yes, indeed. And Tobias is there sitting stoic like a Monarch, but he will need a good Monarch top deck as well, because I don't think there's any resources in the graveyard, right? There is no Pantheism in the graveyard anymore.
No.
There is the Prime Monarch, yes, which would be tribute fodder, but we need a tribute monster for that in the first place, and that needs to be our top deck here then.
Yeah, I mean, that's very hard because we've got the Gulamel on the field, and the fact that we now get access to Horn, I mean, we're going to get rid, of course, of the Secretarian, so the Gulamel will be literally free to activate its effect. And as we just have one top deck, we might just be able to get rid of it. If it is a monster, then we can just chain Gulamel and get rid of the monster, which is, of course, very hard for Tobias to just go through. And yeah, it's not a very good situation. I am trying to think about the top top deck that would save him and let him play
One
the
thing
game.
very important to remember, if there is a master plan in the graveyard, banishing the master plan with Prime will allow him to target one of Lucas's monsters and then add a Monarch with 2,400 attack and 1,000 defense with the same attribute, so an Earth or a Water. At this moment in time, we are going to be banishing the master plan. Sorry, not the master plan, the Perfection.
Yes.
And you see that Lucas looks a bit surprised, to be honest. Like, he knows the cards, obviously, but he was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that one, maybe.
Okay, Tobias. This card may change it all. Maybe a Dracotail card to turn it around. We should. Okay,
We need a very good one.
Was it a look of approval from Tobias' side there, or was he doubting the card he just drew there? Like, it looked like he was. Yeah, he looked like he was
Never doubt it.
convinced by the card he drew there. So let's find out together. What is that top deck? Oh, is he? He's. Oh, okay. It's Kid to Dracotail, actually, right?
It is
It's
ultimate
the
rare
ultimate
Ketty
rare version of
Dracotail.
it. So,
What a top deck!
Okay.
Oh.
The
This is
question
massive.
is it enough? That is
Will
the
you add and
question.
fuse? You can add and fuse, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you do need to sacrifice the Secturion Dragon, but if you have a way to... What's the attribute of the Prime Monarch?
It was probably the only card that would allow him to go through this field, to be honest.
Possibly does give him that opportunity, and the Prime Monarch is a fairy type.
Could you use Prime Monarch? So the thought on this one is, what you want to be adding is you add a dragon, and the reason you add a dragon is if you have a spellcaster in your graveyard, your own Secturion Dragon can bring you back one or the other.
Oh, but there is
Ash, and that's it! Ash, that's it! Oh,
Lucas,
the best
so
top
carefully.
deck, but that Ash, oh.
It was not enough, but what a great game we witnessed, and I just want to praise Tobias, to be honest, the fact that he had such creativity bringing the Monarch strategy to the stage and to the biggest stage, because we got to see it on stream paired with the Dracotail strategy. Unfortunately for him, he didn't get to summon that many monsters, that many Dracotail monsters, because there was the Ash Blossom. But yeah, I really like the fact that even if there are some best decks in the format, you can still bring your own deck, your own strategy that you are confident with, and still perform very, very well. Remember, before this round, he was only X1, which means that it worked pretty well. And I think that we are going to see a lot more decks like that. For example, like Christian branded Sky Striker earlier, and it's going to be amazing. I really love it.
Creativity is unlimited in Yu-Gi-Oh! And let's see what that creativity brought us onto our backup feature match table, because that one is still playing, so why don't we check it out? All right. Ooh, White Forest from Dominic. We haven't had that one yet today. And then a combination.
Malice Mitsurugi.
Malice
I
and
love
Mitsurugi.
it. I can tell you something. A friend of mine decided to play this deck, and he was like, yeah, this is probably the best deck, because Malice is a really great engine, and on the other hand, Mitsurugi, I mean, probably the best engine right now. And so he decided to play both. You can literally try to bait some interruptions with one engine, and then all of a sudden you normal summon Dormouse, or you activate Habakiri in hand, and I mean, those engines are so strong that you can still win the game with only one of them. Very interesting to see that played by Francesco, and yeah, the White Forest strategy still there with the Caesar right there. And I mean, this deck when going first is of course still very, very strong.
And I mean, you gotta realize it says White Forest, but just judging by the things we see there, there's at least Azamina in there. There's definitely Fiends within there as well. So we do know Dominic from a previous appearance actually at the YCS, because he had a top 8 finish actually with that very White Forest deck in the last season already at YCS Birmingham, if I remember correctly. So he has been so good with this deck, and he is still with it, and he still believes it is strong enough to compete in nowadays metagame. And I would say, at least in this game here right now, it does look quite decent for him. But he is already down the game, of course, as Francesco has that little 1 next to his name there.
Yeah, exactly that. We already see, though, how good the resource management of White Forest are in general, and then adding in the Fiends list. We know that there is an graveyard already in the graveyard. We know that the DDD High Wave King Caesar is going to be coming back to the field. We've been able to get Wanted back into rotation, so even when it looks like the field is empty, it is going to be coming back very, very fast.
That's completely true. And so Francesco passes the turn over to Dominic. Before that, of course, he's reminding him and his opponent that we have to return the monsters for SP Little Knight, which in that case are the Caesar and the Little Knight. With Caesar, without materia, it's not too scary anymore besides the 2,800 points of attack. The Little Knight, though, able to use its effect, of course, again here also in this turn.
And we start things off by activating the Wanted, which is of course great because you will get some resources again in hand. And keep in mind that the White Forest strategy likes to discard or to send for cost some cards. So when you are, in the grind game, it might be difficult to just try to get things on the field once again. But here, that's why it's very important to just get another card in hand.
Okay, resolving the Wanted. And like, saying all those different engines that are in this deck and just judging by the size of the deck as well, this must be a 60-card deck, right? Like, there's so many things going in for the deck from Dominic, and he just keeps on going now with the Hallowed Azamina, adding it back to the hand by returning to the deck one of those Azamina cards. I think we did return LZ there. And now we continue probably by just activating the Hallowed Azamina. There we are. Can we chain something to it or do we not? Because if we don't chain anything to it, we will just have to discard a card from our hand. But Francesco is going to use the Dominus Impulse on this.
I mean, you kind of have to play it, to be honest, because as soon as the Azamina resolves, then you are probably able to get something very strong on the field. You have either the choice to get a negate or something that just gets some more engine. So yeah, Francesco here recognized that and recognized the fact that Dominic is maybe low on resources and wants to cut things off at the beginning with the Dominus Impulse. Probably one of the best cards of the format, to be honest.
I mean, since that card came out, like, I think whenever you can play this card, you are just absolutely going to do. You just want to have it in your deck, and then it can do the trick. Okay, we're now using the effect of SP Little Knight, actually, on that Caesar in itself, which leaves us with an open field, though, which is dangerous because White Forest has quite a bit of big monsters, so getting to 8,000 usually quite an easy task, especially when there is still Fiends of Monsters waiting in the graveyard, like that Engraver.
Yep, exactly that. So being able to bring back the Engraver straight away, we already have the Diabell Witch on the field as well. So that's going to be a decent chunk of damage. But then there still is that one more unknown set card from Francesco. Plus, it looks like a very hefty hand. Unfortunately, no Nibiru in there from what I can see. And are we scooping this up?
Yes, we are scooping it up.
Game 3.
Nice. So we just dove into that second game there, saw that Dominic already was really cruising and winning, now closing it out, but we will have the pleasure and the luck to get a full game 3 here between these two as well, between the 3 of us here, watching it, of course, and every single person at home in front of a stream screen as well. But yeah, White Forest is always, whenever I play against White Forest, I'm praying beforehand that I'm drawing Droll, but otherwise I'm always just struggling to deal with it because it has so many pushes. Whatever you Ash Blossom, they just go a different route. Like, I'm really struggling against that deck, and I'm happy that I'm not seeing it that much anymore because it's just so tough to deal with.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly, absolutely. I mean, the White Forest cards, they are very, very strong, and one interruption might not be enough to try to stop the whole deck. One thing, on the other hand, is that you have to cost a lot of cards. You have to send a lot of cards from the hand or the field to the graveyard, and sometimes it can be difficult with a little bit more interruptions because all of a sudden you have nothing in hand, and then you can't do anything. And the fact that the Mali strategy plays a lot of non-engine, you play a lot of hand interruptions, and the Dominus Impulse, which is of course coming in clutch in those games, is very, very good. On top of that, Malice is probably going to go first in this game, and going second, the White Forest strategy relies on the non-engine because of course it is very hard for you to just let your body stick on the field. And if they don't stick on the field, you cannot literally break the field. And we know that Malice literally thrives in those situations and just get the most out of it. So it's going to be, I mean, very, very hard, in my opinion, for the White Forest player to just get the victory there. But still, there are some tools, and we saw some non-engine, which were some hand interruptions with the Ghost Bell, and I think that's very good against the Malice strategy because Field Breaker, not that great, to be honest.
I mean, easy rule: 60 cards. Lower chance to see specific cards. So he's not going to see his non-engine cards so often anymore because just of the pure amount of cards that he's bringing to the table. Like, when you're playing 40 engine cards and then fill it up with some non-engine cards, it's just, you struggle to see side deck cards and stuff like that in those 60 card piles. So we shall see whether Dominic will even be able to have those impactful cards going second, like maybe Artifact Lancea. Because let's face it, Lancea got more popular, so maybe it's even an attack from Dominic. But in those 60 card piles, not that easy to draw.
No, exactly that. And I think the very important thing when you're coming around building White Forest, when you're working with White Forest, is that the ratio of spells and traps to monsters is massively important, because you could open up an entire hand, but if you don't see a spell or trap that you can send with your White Forest monsters, you're in a bit of a deficit. So the best way to side in cards like this, instantly when you know you're going second, you're like, right, okay, some of the trap cards can come out, they're going to be less effective for me. But then what do you put in? Yes, the go-to ones will be breakers, but then you also need to keep in mind that there are going to be hand traps you might want to consider, stuff like Molchomi, Meowth, and everything else.
If you can find space for something like that, but we see that the duelists are ready, so why don't we check out how it goes down here in Game 3. Ooh, it looks like we really walked into a white forest here, right? Because all of a sudden it's all dark in there, so maybe that's a sign on who is going to win this third game here.
Absolutely, the two players look ready, and we see the fist bump right there. Francesco probably going to go first in that game. Not now yet. They're waiting a little bit, you know, to see
the dispense,
Exactly. They are taking their time. 16 minutes on the clock, and now we will see Francesco is able to just get his way out of this game with the victory. He's in the driver's seat, to be honest. And if he sees some engine, it might be a really good sign that he's on the right road.
Oh, we have Mitsurugi prayers. That's a good
way to start.
Possibly just using that in the draw phase right away to play around cards like Drone and Lockbird. But it is going unanswered, and sure enough, we grab that Habakiri, which is now going to be activated there as well.
Yeah, this is definitely a very, very powerful start off of the back for Francesco on this one. And like you said, doing it during a draw phase, I think that is the most important thing as a Mitsurugi player, that if you are going to be picking this deck up, if you're looking into this deck or anything like that, one of the best things that you need to be careful of is playing around Draw and Lockbird, and activating prayers during the draw phase will allow you to do that, giving you as much advantage as possible before giving your opponent the opportunity to activate Draw and Lockbird.
And you go right away into the ritual, and this is what is very powerful about this engine. You can pair it up with a lot of things, and you know, it forces so much things, because of course the Mitsurugi engine is very, very strong. Getting the Murakumo on the field is of course already a big deal, and on top of that, if you get the second engine, which is here the Mali strategy, I mean, this is so hard to stop. But yeah, here uninterrupted, and Dominic doesn't look like he has something to try to prevent Francesco getting his field.
Mitsurugi Mirror in there as well, so seems like the Mitsurugi package in this deck is not even that small, because when you see Mirror, you always can expect also that there is going to be the pre-preparation of rides, but that Bestial Druid Swarm could be massive.
Absolutely. Here we want to get rid of the Murakumo right away, and that is a very, very good thing, of course, for Dominic, because we don't want the Murakumo to just get back on the field and be able to apply his effect. We want to get some card advantage. We want to get some resources, and the fact that we are kind of forced to discard a card if you want to get the effect resolved is something which is not really what you want when you are playing White Forest.
So we see that the Mirror went into the graveyard, but what about the Druid Swarm? Okay, yeah, now we're resolving the Druid Swarm as well. I was like, okay.
He was flying in the sky, literally.
The thing is, one thing that we have to consider here is, yes, the Murakumo does not come back, but it will always still, as it was activated, be able to search. And Dominic also is asking about the judge. Yep, that is true. That's how this card works. It searches first, and then only afterwards it comes back. So we are still able to grab. What are we going to grab? Maybe a normal summon of the Mitsurugi monsters?
It could be the case.
Definitely could be the case, but I think going for Purification here is actually really important, because I believe, seeing in Francesco's hand, he already has a normal summon, which might be a little bit more appropriate for what he's trying to achieve here.
I mean, he is playing a mixture of a deck for a reason. He's playing those powerful Cybers monsters in there. Isver maybe the best, possibly best Cybers monster in the world.
Let's see that.
Dormouse, or what's the normal summon of choice here?
Ooh,
okay.
So here we can see the Baldock being activated by Francesco, banishing his own Sagi to get onto the field, and maybe now we are going to normal summon Dimash here, and that is what is so strong about this deck. You are able to get multiple monsters on the field, and therefore you are able to...
interaction.
Dominic, in his 60 card deck, still was able to draw 2 interruptions. We were saying, okay, it's going to be hard to find the right answers here, but not for Dominic, as he has a real perfect answer here with that Nibiru, the Primal Being.
Yeah, and actually, that's literally absolutely insane because, yeah, getting this Nibiru and getting a proactive Nibiru which is able to get rid of the 3 monsters. I was about to say that what you want to achieve is to go into the Link 3, and the Mitsurugi cards, they help in that sense. Yep. But the fact that you are able to cut the things and get back to 1 body with the Nibiru, I mean, this is absolutely huge for Dominic and Francesco. I mean, it's going to be hard to recover from that.
There will probably be 0 bodies after this because the Druid Swarm is a prime combo on this one. So send the token, and then straight away you've already made Francesco use up his normal summon. We've already seen Habakiri being used. We've got rid of the Murakumo. This is actually a very, very good trade-off back and forth here from Francesco.
And the fact that we had to normal summon the March here means that we don't have really a lot Malice monsters. Otherwise, we would have summoned the Dormouse or the White Rabbit or any other Malice monsters.
I mean, he has 3 cards in hand right now, and we know 2 of them. One is Prayers, and one is the Great Purification. So there is not much potential to really extend from here on out anymore. So I think the White Forest that we're in here right now is really speaking for itself, as Dominic is the one in the driver's seat here. And I mean, it's so important that the Murakumo is banished, because that makes that Prayers so much worse, as we cannot get access to that. We're setting the 2 cards, which I probably have mentioned just there, the Great Purification and...
Do we have anything else?
Ooh,
Preparations.
So we opened the Muro with the pre-preparation of rights. So that wasn't optimal, but now we can still make sure to get the Muro, but what else, really?
That doesn't do a whole lot, to be honest. And I mean, if Dominic can play, he will for sure be able to play through that and be able to get the victory. I mean, yeah, Francesco, it's very hard for him. And the fact that he didn't see the best Malice monsters kind of hurts him there.
It really does.
And very interesting to see that, yeah, we're saying that, of course, it's very hard to see a combination of very good hand interactions in 60 cards. Still, we got those. We said that it was pretty easy to play through interruptions with the Malice Mitsurugi strategy, but there was a Nibiru and the Bestial, so...
It is Dominic's turn now. The world is his oyster. And in the draw phase, preemptively, Francesco wants to make sure, and I think that is somewhat smart, he wants to make his trap card live here. He wants to make sure that he has a monster to tribute for it. Even though it is not the Murakumo, at least it is going to be a Habakiri here, I would imagine.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that is massively, massively important. Keeping in mind that Dominic hasn't really gained any cards back, so we're still working with 4 cards on this one to enter, trying to navigate around this field. You know you're probably going to be trading off one of those cards with the Purification. The question then comes down to how many more can you do to push through. With 9 minutes and 40 seconds counting down on the clock, White Forest do have quite a long-gated strategy. They're not a very, very quick moving deck in that sense, because there's a lot to kind of consider. However, when you're going second, there's less that... I believe we actually know everything apart from the 1 set card that Francesco has. I believe that is all kind of public knowledge to Dominic as of last round. So you should know that there's less interaction for you to worry. So we should be able to pick up some pace on this as well.
I mean, this is the Purification that is set there, confirmed to be. That's no other way that could be. So Dominic now, normal summons Fabled Lurry, and that card alone can do so much damage, as nowadays we even have Fiendsmith Lacrima back into the extra deck for all the Fiendsmith players, and I'm sure Dominic is making use of that.
I mean, it actually forces the trap card on the Fiendsmith stuff, because if you let everything go through, it's going to be so hard for you to get back in the game. So Dominic...
Hallowed as Amina. I mean, you kind of want to negate that too.
Which one do you stop?
I mean, what can you do now?
And I mean, the problem here is, we have used the graveyard effect of Habakiri there, which we tributed from the hand for the Prayers, meaning if we use our trap card to tribute the Habakiri on the field, it's not going to come back, and that's less defense to... I mean, there's an Nibiru already on the field, so we're working in terms of attack points already on Dominic's side, so maybe Dominic finds a way to do this here, and that looks like Murcielago to me here that we have just summoned out there.
Yeah, we are in a very good spot on the side of Dominic, and he had literally everything. The Fiendsmith access, the access to the Azamini cards, but as well as 2 very strong interactions on the opponent's turn. I mean, Dominic, what a way to play the game straight, to be honest.
Yeah, very, very well navigated. I'm very interested that we've gone for the Muru Suliago on this one, depending on what we possibly had access to, because I feel trying to block off the Great Purification, which is exactly what we're going to be seeing here, is a nice trade-off for Requiem to kind of go through Resolve, and we already know how powerful the Fiendsmith kind of engine can be as well.
And now I think Murcielago even has a graveyard effect, doesn't
correct.
it? So like this was huge for Dominic. He had to negate that. And now, oh no, Francesco didn't know. He reads the Murcielago now. He gets a Deception for free. Right like that. So we have the Requiem now able to do the full Fiendsmith thing and Deception alongside it as well. We're tributing 3,000 tech points away there. Okay, Dominic. I mean, sure, but I'm sure we can find a different way to get 7,200 attack points onto the field quite easily here. And we all know, and Dominic knows, there is no further interruptions waiting in the hand from Francesco's side.
And now we are activating again
and we're just
the
fist bump,
allowed as
exactly.
Amina, and it's gonna be it. Of course, Francesco recognizes the fact that he cannot win this game, and Dominic gets the victory. What a surprising victory, to be honest, because, I mean, he wasn't in the driver's seat. The fact that the White Forest cards going second, they are not that good, because, yeah, you have to tribute those cards, you have to get some cards in the graveyard, and you don't do that much of card advantage. But yeah, here, very strong opening with the Bestial, with also the Nibiru being able to just get rid of everything, getting rid of the Murakumo, so the Mitsurugi part, and also of the Madi strategy. Very, very, very well played here, and we get White Forest to see them having another victory, basically.
I think we kind of saw also the pros and cons of the combination of decks, right? Yeah. When you're combining Malice with Mitsurugi, that means that you're playing less Malice engine cards and less supportive cards for the archetype in general, meaning cards like backup at Ignister you probably don't have in your deck anymore, which are adding consistency. And like if we just had more ways to push with our Malice part there of the deck, I think it would have been way better for him, and possibly he could have won there. But because he just had some Mitsurugi cards and some Malice cards, just didn't really do it really, and therefore in the end Dominic was the one capitalizing from that situation, taking it down for the White Forest strategy, and he is still in the tournament with a 4-1 record. But another person, of course, still in the tournament with a 4-1 record, almost forgotten already after this exciting backup feature match, of course, is also Lucas Lancelot, who won our main featured match, who is playing the K9 Dracotail version, which has done him very well over the last couple of weeks and months, but is now his deck of choice for this very tournament as well. And his feature match was very impressively and quickly won by him against Tobias and his Monarch deck, but I think we should talk about that match. And therefore, we have Mike and also Lucas Lancelot, of course, in the analysis corner. So why don't we bring it over to them? Let's hear from the winner of our round 5 feature match.
Hello, we are here with Luca, our winner of our feature match. Congratulations for your win, first of all. And I think that everyone wants to talk about your deck choice. It was Dracotail, but as we saw, you also included Izuna.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about this?
It's because in this meta, with Dracotail, you feel like Vanquish Soul, Mirror Match and stuff. So Izuna is a great card against those decks, and it puts a lot of pressure. And it's a monster, so you need monsters in Dracotail, so that's why.
So it was kinda like a meta call to adapt in the current meta state?
Yes.
And also to address decks like, as you mentioned, Vanquish Soul, I imagine also Mitsurugi potentially. Mirror Match also, it is very strong, right?
Yeah, it's good against a lot of deck in the meta, actually.
Yeah. And also, obviously, we have some clips prepared, and I want to talk about one of the best opening hands that you can have going second.
Yeah.
It is obviously the Fugalos plus the 5-mana.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how you
combo.
how you feel when you open this hand?
I felt good, but when I saw the Monarch spell, I was like, my hand is not so good, but he did activate an effect to special from deck. So I did drop Fuvalos, and the effect that special from deck, special another from deck. So I draw 2 with this Fuvalos, and I drew the names with the 5-mana, so I could. I had only Pan in the opening hand, and I did draw the Mululu with the Fuvalos.
With the Fugalos.
So it was good.
would you consider wait for another monster maybe since you had Tepan, or you wanted to interact at that moment with your opponent?
At this moment, I wanted to interact because I knew Zaborg in hands, and I know that Zaborg is getting rid of the extra deck, so I didn't want him to let the time. And I knew that he did normal summon again with the Eidos effect. He did already use it, so he couldn't normal then tribute summon. So I did get rid of the monsters, so he couldn't tribute summon anymore.
Yeah, and you protected yourself from Zaborg as a countered activation into your opponent playing Monarch.
What? Sorry?
It was a counter move in order to deal with Monarchs and Zaborg.
Yeah, and I did set Horn, Dracotail Horn, because I know that every card he has is like tribute summon or anything, so he does have to summon it in attack, and I can like interact with my turn directly by putting back a monster that he was tribute summon or anything like that. So it was good, yeah.
Okay, on the second clip, I think it was more obvious. So you waited to activate us on the Pantheism. Can you tell me about why you activated us here?
In the first spell?
Yeah, on the.
No,
yeah.
I did activate in the first spell.
Yeah.
Not on Pantheism, because he did discard the trap, and the trap does nothing on the grave except if you have a tribute summon monsters. So I opted he brick, but he did Pantheism after, and he still bricked, so...
Yeah, this is my next topic that I want to talk about. So your opponent activated Pantheism, set 2 and pass.
Yeah.
As we saw later, Pantheism has a graveyard effect. Would you consider that this may be a bait and just let your opponent potentially pass turn to you back in order to activate 5 mana, or it was a thought that it didn't cross your mind because you are not very familiar with Monarch?
I am familiar with the old ones, the old Monarchs, but not the new ones. And I didn't think it was a bait. I think he did forget it, but as we saw later, he did add, I think it was, this one, and he sent the trap to survive.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was a bait. And I played already an trap, so I'm not afraid of like triple tactic talents or anything like that. So I can go and establish my board before he pass back. So.
And I mean, when you resolve 5 mana in your opponent's turn, in any case, you generate so much advantage by setting a Sting or a Rahu and just have more options.
Yeah.
Since you generate
because
all the effects.
I do add back with the Artalion, so it's not like any minus.
Yeah. You only get more and more pluses, right?
Yeah.
And lastly, I want to talk about the warning on the Rahu. It is one of those cards that we see on the side decks. How do you feel about Solemn Warning? And
I think it's not a good card actually, because like against Dracotail you can still activate back the spells because it's an activate and not an like a use. So you can activate back. And warning negates the activation, so it was not so good. Maybe he should have done this on the 5 mana. It was better, I think.
And one minor tip that we can share with our viewers is that your opponent activated Super Poly in order to fusion summon Lucias and Arthalion into Secretarian, but you still get the effect to set a card since your monster was used for a fusion material.
And I set back a Rahu, and since it was negated by Solemn Warning, I could activate another. So it was good for me.
Yeah, okay. And I mean, right now, you just won round 5 of the YCS Bologna, and I can see only that you are going through this and have the best results during the day and tomorrow.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for the interview. I hope the best of luck into the rest of the tournament, and I hope that I can see you again in the States.
I hope so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stay tuned, everyone, for more Yu-Gi-Oh content.